President Trump put Democrats on the spot in his State of the Union on Tuesday night, and, well, they once again proved to be the party of cray-cray, refusing to stand for putting American citizens over illegals when it comes to voter ID, keeping violent criminals locked up, protecting parental rights, and, of course, the list goes on and on and on. Joining me now, Charlie Hurt, co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend. The maneuvering was really great, you know. The way he positioned it, there's either you had to stand up and say, yeah, I stand for something, or sit down and say, I hate everything. You know, and they, for the most part, said, I'll sit down and take the heat.
Yeah, you know, Trump is kind of like a Broadway producer in the way he does politics. And of course, if you love him, you really love all of the theatrics. But he's very good at it. And I think my favorite part of the whole address was when he turned to them and he sort of pointed at them and said, you should be ashamed of yourselves, talking about the border. And and it's true, they should be. It should be one of those things where if you don't believe in something as simple as we should have a border, you probably should find a different line of work other than politics, maybe do something else. And that's, of course, not just some right-wing talking point. I think that, what Trump has recognized is that even among Democrat voters, they also want to have a border.
Yeah, I know. I saw a poll, and they broke it down amongst income levels. And it's one of these things that ranks very high no matter what income, under 25,000, 50,000, a millionaire, everyone. It's just logic, right? We have locks on our doors, and, you know, and for a reason we should have the ability to control who comes in and out of our country. And yet you have these states now, New Jersey, you know, among them now, that they're saying, hey, we're going to fight, we're going to push back against ICE, just doubling down in this sort of, you know, hey, come to our country illegally and we'll protect you.
And what's really weird about it, in New Jersey and in Virginia with those off-year elections, both of those candidates, they ran as, I think, national security moms was the moniker that the New York Times gave them. And they ran talking about border security. And so the idea that they get elected and then the first thing that they do is say, oh yeah, no, we're gonna support sanctuary cities. And Abigail Spanberger did the same thing in Virginia, where she repealed the no sanctuary cities policies of the previous governor. And you're right. If you're you know, anytime you have a calamity like open borders, it's just a sort of the nature of things. It winds up hurting people in the lower income brackets the worst. It always does. People with money can make other decisions. And so the idea that you have the Democrats who claim to represent poor people and then want to inflict this kind of damage on them, it really is disqualifying.
I've been watching a lot of videos this last week of truck drivers, American truck drivers, who are saying, hey, you know, let's pass all these laws. They're trying to pass a few laws that would allow you have to read English to stop. These folks are charging so little to drive these trucks that people who've been doing this their whole lives are getting kicked out of the business. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
Could you imagine, you know, 25 years ago, having a conversation where we were like, well, do you think a truck driver driving a 40-ton missile down the street should be able to speak English or read road signs?
Yeah.
You would be like, you're crazy, Charlie. Makes no sense. But that's where we are now. And there really are, and obviously, you know, and you know better than I do, there's like all these, there are real financial incentives where you have companies that want, you know, some guy from Bangladesh or wherever who doesn't speak a word of English and is desperate and is here illegally. So of course they're going to do everything for cheaper, you wind up with people getting hurt, killed, and
we are seeing, speaking of the economics of it, right? We are seeing, for instance, rents are coming down big time.
Yeah.
And you know, and the strains on cities are being lessened. And these are things that I don't know how any politician can run on the campaign. Hey, I want to open the borders up, jack up the rents again. And your kid who needs more attention from their school teacher will never get it because there'll be an extra 20 kids in the class who probably couldn't even speak the language.
You know, I think one of the good things that, and Trump deserves credit for this, that he went there where all the places you weren't supposed to go. Like, you remember, you were racist, you're a xenophobe if you talked about things like this or issued any sort of complaint. And they've claimed that, you know, they've cried that so many times now. You can actually have these conversations now. And when you talk about like housing, yeah, you know, if you take millions of people illegally across the border and then not only put them up, not only are you squeezing down, like even I understand these economics, not only are you squeezing down the number of places that are available for legal people, but then you're also going to have the government, the taxpayer, pay for all their housing, and then you're surprised that the price of housing goes through the roof? It makes sense.
You think, I got a minute to go, right? You think that it might change? I was reading where there's a lot of folks who want to run as Democrats who are really upset with some of the folks who are entrenched. They won't be voted out, but this craziness is hurting their party. You know, they just lost big time this last election. I know they feel confident about midterms, but there's a lot of folks who are saying the party needs to somehow tamp down on the crazy wing.
Yeah, and I don't know that they're going to be able to do it because they've kind of let the circus kind of take over the party. But, you know, the thing that Republicans went through back in 2008 and 10 with the whole Tea Party, all those divisions, Barack Obama did a good job of kind of keeping the coalition together. And then Trump did a good job of keeping their coalition together in 2020. But I think that once Trump is gone, I think that that coalition splinters and it's going to be full crazy town. And I'm here for it.
All right, I know you are. Me too. Charlie Hurt, thank you so much.